I think that's a sufficient beat. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. There are so many places you could have been, but you're here with the Emma Bowen Foundation. And on behalf of myself and my team, we're happy to welcome you here. My name is Nikki Bethel, and I am the CEO and president of this wonderful organization. And I have a great story that I'll just give you a little bit of a window into, in that I started my relationship with the foundation as a mentor of 4 students who completely surprised and delighted me for the time that I was mentoring them. And I felt that they were very sharp and very astute. As my team knows, I'll often compare them to colleagues that I've had in the business, and they were well sharper and savvier than those of my colleagues who, double-digit years in, you should know better. And so, how impressed I was with the foundation, the company that I worked for at HBO. I was SVP of talent management and talent acquisition, and I fell in love with the foundation. And then that turned into, who knew a few years later I would become a part of their board and lean in and completely inhale the experience. And then I transitioned from that while working at HBO. I was leaving HBO to take a year off to be a mom and a wife. And the foundation asked if I would do a couple of hours of consulting for them a month. And I said yes. And that turned into being considered for an interim role as CEO and president. And I said yes to that. And then I said yes to the full time role. And you will hear from folks today, including my colleague Anel, who will join me in a few minutes. You will get to see the magic of the Emma Bowen Foundation and why our alums come back and pour into the next generation of fellows, because we have our own ecosystem. And so I will start by welcoming you. I will share with you the agenda for the day so that you at least have a window of what you're getting yourselves into. And then we'll get into a little more about the background and the history of the organization. And then I will transition this over to Anel, and then I'll be back a little later to do a Q&A session, a fireside chat, if you will, with our alums. And so if we could go to the next slide, that would be great. Thank you. I just did the welcome. We're going to do an overview of EBF, talk about the fellowship program. Anel, who is also an alum of the program, will go into the weeds with you all about what the experience is and a little bit about the application to give you a sense of what you can expect. And then we'll get into the juicy fabulousness of our alums. And then we'll get into Q&A, which, please, the whole while, if you have questions, if thoughts are burning, don't hesitate to put them in the chat, because we have double eyes and ears on the chat to help us when it's time for Q&A. And with that, the next slide, please. Yes, our fabulous Emma. So Emma is a real person, a Black woman from the South who migrated to the North, to Harlem. She was a community activist along with others, and she took the state of where we as people of color are, both in front of and behind the camera, very seriously. And so I often like to say that she got in the faces of the C-suite leaders at the different stations and pretty much told them to put their money where their mouth is, that we needed to be able to see ourselves in the morning on the news, in the evening on the news, in the middle of the day, that true representation allows for everyone who is in that community. They should be able to turn on the TV and see themselves. And so she and others were actively making moves in the business to the point where clearly they started a foundation. Initially, we were named something other. I don't even like to say what it was, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I love that folks, the powers that be, the stakeholders got together and a few years later decided to rename the organization in her honor, hence the Emma Bowen Foundation. And she takes mental health, I say she because we're living her legacy, right, as if she's still here. We embody the spirit of developing, of leaning into young people, ensuring that they know what they don't know, because we do, those of us that are on the other side. And so we stand on her shoulders. I don't have on my stilettos right now, but if I did, I would tell you that my stilettos are standing on really tall and broad shoulders. And so we are very proud of the work that we do because we are very much living her legacy. And so the next slide. Thank you. We've got some, oh, nope, Anel, Miss Anel, come on out here, because I think this is you. Yeah, girl. I'll see you all a little later.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aneldis. I'm the Partner Relations and Talent Acquisition Manager. I'm also an alum of the program, so I've been through this experience. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the key programs that we have in the foundation. The Fellows Program, which is our main program, summer internships, but we'll get more into that right after this slide. Launch is a program that we have for seniors. So seniors have the ability to be paired with mentors, and we kind of help you basically as you start the process of going into the workforce. So you're not trying to navigate that alone. You'll definitely have some guidance. And then the AMP network is what comes next. You don't have to be an EBF alum to be in the AMP network. It's for all professionals in their careers. Anyone can join, and it's a good way to network with others. And you'll get emails for like jobs and things of that nature. All right, so the Fellows Program. The Fellows Program is why you're all here. This is just a few pictures of some of our fellows representing some of our partner companies, such as Hearst Television through WPBF on here. We have folks at the NFL. We have people at Fox Corp and Fox TV stations. So this is just a little mix of some of our students that we've had. All right. So some of the benefits of the program is obviously the main one is paid summer, full-time paid summer internships at one of our partner companies. And you also have the ability to return the next summer. It just depends on the partner and also obviously the fellow's performance. We have need-based scholarships, and every year that you're in the program, you are able to apply for a scholarship. Professional development webinars and conference. We have webinars throughout the year, different topics. You also are able to meet some of our partners at these webinars. And of course, we have our annual conference. So we do have a small portion of it in New York for the New York area students. And also, there's just a lot of our partner companies that are attending this. There's a career fair. It's a great opportunity for everyone who joins. Career advancement through mentorship through launch. I kind of mentioned that already. Basically, the launch program for seniors, you do get a mentor, ideally someone who's in the realm of what you want to do after you graduate. And we will help you along the way as you prepare to join the workforce full time. We have individualized support from our staff. Clarabelle is our Dean of Student Affairs, and she is really there for every single fellow while they're in the program, after they leave the program. So alums talk to Clarabelle all the time. She's really available for everyone for anything you need, not just related to your internship, even if it's something that's school related. And a lifelong community of peers, alumni, professionals, and partners. So, I just speaking as an alum, I still to this day keep in touch with people who I went through the program with. And I graduated in 2012. So, if that's any indication of how lifelong it is, it's really, really, really a great community of peers and people who will be there for you just basically throughout your life. This is just a little taste of really how diverse the roles that we have with our partners are. We have people in engineering, IT, and computer science. One of the alums that's going to be on the panel is actually in that area. We have sports, we have post production, we have marketing, social media, even human resources. So, really, I'm not going to go through all of them because there's so many, but we are more than likely going to have a role at one of our partner companies for wherever your interests lie. And this is just a visual to kind of show you that we truly are almost everywhere in the US. And I will say that even in some of those states that are grayed out, there probably are opportunities with some of our bigger partner companies. It's just that we haven't had a fellow there. So that could change and they could become purple. It just depends on where people get their opportunities. And very quickly, how to apply. So our application is very simple, but it's two parts. So the first part is the application form. You go on our website, obviously, you include your resume and your LinkedIn profile. We do recommend that you have a photo on your LinkedIn profile because if you are applying to us, then we do share that link with partners. And your resume. That's really the only two things you need to do the application on our website. But then there's a second part, and the second part is very important. It's the hire view video interview. If you haven't done one before, you basically just get a few questions and then you'll be on video answering the questions. You do get a few seconds to kind of prep before you answer the question. But it is very important that you complete both parts of the application because if you do not complete the higher view, you are not really going to be fully under consideration. So you need to complete it. We recommend that you do it within 72 hours. We will send you a reminder. And you can also just scan that QR code there to get to the application page very quickly. But also you'll be receiving a recording of this, so you'll have that there then too. A few tips while you're applying. Make sure that you're keeping an eye on your email and phone communications. That means check your spam folder. A lot of times things go into spam and students say they didn't receive an email, specifically higher view. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on your spam folder and on your email every day to make sure you're not missing something. Same with your phone. Sometimes we do call students. If not, we will text you just if we're missing something or we need you to complete something, make sure that you keep an eye on everything. Respond and complete next steps promptly. Be aware of any deadlines. Again, higher view, higher view, higher view. Just make sure you complete that. It really helps us get more information about you beyond your resume and what your interests really are. Show up and present yourself, your best self through email, by phone, and in person. What does that mean? Make sure that you're professional. Don't have like we often see higher views where students have chaos in the background, or maybe they're outside and it's really loud. Just be very conscious of your surroundings. So if we're talking to you on the phone, we want to be able to hear you. We don't want to just hear a bunch of noise in the background and make it very difficult for us to hear you. So just be very aware of your surroundings and how do you present yourself as well. Research, demonstrate your interest, and ask questions. Make sure that you do your research on not only the foundation, but if we do reach out to you for partner companies that may be of interest to you or that you may qualify for, that you do your research on that company and that you have and come prepared with questions. Of course, follow us on social media. You will be able to get some content just like across the board about alums, current fellows, opportunities. So just make sure to follow us on all of the social media accounts. And now I believe we're going to start our panel with Nikki and some recent alums.
I know how much you love being in front of the camera. All right. At this point, I know I talked a little earlier about our beloved alums, the ones that continue to give of their time, talent, and treasure. Well, whenever we make the call, they come. And I wish I could say that's just me, but it's not. It's for Rasan, it's for Phyllis, it's for all of us who have been in these seats, these hot seats, that when we have an ask or we have a burning desire to have someone else tell the story better than we can, which is why we do this, you're going to hear from the rock stars themselves who have transitioned from being students like you into the workforce. And most of them, if not all of them, graduated legit within like the last year. I want to say class of 2024. So they will correct me if that's not quite accurate, but that's what we're going with. And to that end, I'd like to bring out Erin Burnett. Bring her out, bring her out. Hi, Erin. Hey, Ladybug. And I'd like to bring out Lee, because I know you're out there. Yes, yes. And I want to bring out Troy and Carmen. Yes. Hi, Carmen. Yes. Okay, here we are. Welcome, alums. Thank you for joining us. You know, I'm not reading your bios because I think we'll have better time spent getting into a meaty conversation. And I will not ask all the questions. I will ask the ones that I think, well, what do I want to know selfishly? And if I were in their shoes, which I was once upon a time, what are the things that I was careful about, maybe too careful about, and could have gotten in my own way around? And so I'm going to pepper you all with questions this evening about both your experience as a fellow and what your experiences were with the foundation and your internship. And then we're going to talk about what life is doing in the spirit of life and where you are right now. And we're actually going to start right there. And so I'm going to start with you, Erin, and then I'm going to make my way over to Lee. But I would love to get a sense as to a day in the life of you What does that look like? If you had to put us on your back or at least give us a peek behind the velvet rope, what goes on for you during the day so we can feel like we have the essence of what you do at work?
All right. Well, hey guys, my name's Erin Burnett, and if we're doing a day in the life, we're gonna start really early, very early, before the sun comes up. Matter of fact, because I'm a morning reporter in North Carolina. Think Central North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina A&T area. Go Aggies. Um, I work at the NBC affiliate here from on a partner company called Hearst Television. And yeah, like I said, the day starts really early. So because I'm a morning reporter, I have to be to work at 3:30 a.m. So I wake up usually at 2 a.m. on a good day because I live near the station. So I like to start my day with affirmations, with breakfast, and then I usually just get my assignment. So I'm usually briefing myself quickly about like whatever broke overnight or what my story's going to be, because when I get in the station it's go time. So usually I have my makeup done, I am already given my assignment, so I start writing because I have to be on air at 5:30, 5 o'clock. If it's something really breaking, I'm in our 4:30 show. So in the morning we have a show from 4:30 through 7 a.m. And like I said, usually I'm only in the 5 through the 7, but sometimes it's more than that. So yeah, then I go through all my hits for the day after I go through the scripting process, approvals, and then I'm on air. So I'm on air from usually 5, 5:30, 6, 6:30, 6:55, and then what we call teases in the middle. So I could be on television anywhere from like 4 hits to like 8 a morning, depending on what I'm doing. This morning, I had live interviews with this foundation, this organization that's doing this huge Christmas fundraiser. So sometimes I have live interviews, sometimes we have tape sound, depends. And then after the show, I have another story, maybe two. Again, depends on what's happening. We have breaking news, I get sent there. If I have a scheduled shoot, then I go there and then get to turn that for the next morning. And then we go home, we go to the gym, and we do it all over again. I don't think I missed anything.
Oh my God, Erin, thank you because I really feel like I went on a journey with you insofar as I don't even get up that early in the morning. I couldn't even tell you what my name is at that time of morning. And the fact that you have to be there, if I heard you right, at 5:30.
At 3:30.
It's even worse than I thought. Okay, girl, thank you because I'm already over here like you have to be committed to the work to want to do what you're doing in order to want to go into it joyfully, right? That's what I do know about the position that you are in. Thank you for giving us a window. I don't know how you come after that, Lee. You come on, bring it in. Let take us
Yeah,
on the journey.
that's really hard to match considering the insane schedule. I was not expecting 3:30 a.m. But day of my life, I usually just go into the office 2 to 3 times a week. It's right by Grand Central, and typically at 9, always at 9 a.m. Never earlier than that. Usually when I get in, I check on all the screens we have just to make sure everything's working correctly. So what I typically do is create content and creatives for the MTA, depending on who the clients are. It could range from Google to Heinz, a, a wide variety, depends on all the clients. But typically, they want all the new capabilities that they can to put in the MTA. They want the most advanced features. They always want the best. So I've been working on creating all of those and trying to figure out how to make the screens better, increase the quality, increase the speed, all of those things. And then typically, once in a while, we have clients coming into the office. I work on scheduling all the content to make sure that they're really represented when they come in, when we give them their presentation. And occasionally, we would go into Times Square because that's where our most of the representation is. We manage about 80% of all the billboards there, the digital ones. Once in a while, we would go there, test the creatives actually live on the screen, and people will actually walk up to me thinking I'm a tourist because I'm taking all these pictures, like mesmerized by all these digital billboards. So, and then after that, I would get back, and it's honestly a lot of learning because the things that we're really focusing on recently is how to use AI in our work and how we could increase the workflow or how we could increase the quality of the creatives that the clients want. So it's been a long process because I thought when I left school that I would be done learning, it's all the stuff I knew, but I didn't really know anything when I actually got into work. It's a completely different field with all the new technology. Every time I get into work, it's always something new. Like either this new feature came out or a different language came out. It's always a learning experience and it's really been fun.
So Lee, dare I say, you're never
Hmm.
going to get bored because
No,
you're
no,
you're a
never.
student of life. And I'm so tickled over here. I'm so glad I was muted when you said it. I thought I was gonna spit out my water when you said I thought I was like I was done learning.
Yeah.
And now you're like, actually, no, I'm not. So I love that you had your own aha moment around that. And it's exciting to be able to go out and do some of the work that you do. You know, the behind the scenes and what is
Yeah.
necessary to get prepared for what we just enjoy. We just see the beauty of the aesthetics on the outside and not necessarily all of what goes into getting it there. So thank you, because I do feel like I've been on a journey with you. And now,
Thank you.
Troy, my dear, I turn it over to you to give us a similar experience.
All right. Yeah, Lee, I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like every day I'm just learning something new, and like school teaches you a lot, but it doesn't teach you a lot of like what you really need to succeed, I think. And I think we kind of just learn that with experience. So my day kind of differs a lot from time to time, but similarly, I get in around 8:30 or 9 every morning, usually sit down and just like get through my emails that I got over the last night since we work a lot with like global partners. For me right now, I'm in the rotational program, so I've done a couple different departments. But right now, I'm sitting in our consumer products department, specifically focused on strategy. I still work in our gaming department as well, so I'm kind of split between the two. So right now is our busy season. So on the strategy side of the house, it's a lot of meetings, it's a lot of PowerPoint, it's a lot of Excel. We're planning for our 2026 season. So we're through April of 2026 through April of 2027. And we're just focused on all the new collaborations we want to lean into. How can we make the game a more global game? And just really how can we drive deeper fan engagement? So a lot of like long-term thinking, a lot more of like, okay, what we've done like up to this date is in the past, like how can we really innovate? How can we be the first league to get into these partnerships? So that's been really insightful for me and like getting to see how like senior leaders at the NFL are thinking about the future. And then on the other side of the house is the gaming side. So I manage a couple different relationships. And those can get a little taxing. We just had a new partnership launch on Wednesday with the World Series of Poker into their free-to-play app. And that was a lot of time spent trying to get their approvals done, trying to get all the in-game assets ready. And then we also support them on the marketing front. So just making sure that we're aligned with how they're presenting our brand image. I think it's really interesting to see like the way that they perceive us and the way that we perceive ourselves. I think NFL definitely we hold ourselves to a very high standard, and a lot of other places kind of just view us as another sports league. So that's been interesting trying to manage that and trying to really like show like no, like these are the standards we have for the brand for the Shield, and we need to maintain those standards at all times. So it's really interesting getting to work with partners. Sometimes it's a lot. They can have me at the office pretty late. I'd say normally I work till about 6 p.m. This last week, it's probably been about 7 or 8 most nights, but it's not the worst because I enjoy the work.
Troy, I so appreciate that. I often, you wonder when, again, there's what you see on TV. There's what you may even think you know about, it's the NFL. It's like, ooh, the zeitgeist. And then there's what actually happens behind closed doors. So for you to even agree with Lee and off the rip started with saying, oh, I agree, I'm learning new things all the time. That's kind of what you want, right? Not necessarily for your learning curve to be at 6 o'clock, because that's like anxiety of another order, but like, maybe like right here. And so if the opportunity that you're in is keeping you moving and keeping you engaged, and it sounds like you have almost like one foot here and another foot over here, and you're able to flank, it doesn't get any better than that. I'm here for the And so you're already right, like you're doing the and so early in your career, like you don't even realize how good that is. And the fact that you're open to continuing to learn means that you're taking a risk on yourself. And I love that the NFL, the way you described it, it makes me want to kind of come into the office a little more and hang out with you and JB and kind of figure out a little more about the inner workings of that. Which building are you in? You're in the city, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, Troy. Carmen, you have to round us all out, bringing it up in the rear. Thank you, Carmen.
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Carmen. I'm a PR coordinator for Warner Bros. Discovery across the US linear networks, which includes almost 8 different networks. And so I work across all of them. And a little day in my life, I'm located here in New York, and I'm someone who loves my mornings, and I don't like being rushed in my mornings. So I typically, I feel like it just preps me for the day. And so I'll typically wake up. I take like an hour and a half to get ready. I'm just taking my time. I find peace in it, and I think it just really preps me for the day. And then from there, I'll head into the office. I get here at 9 a.m. every day. And similar to Troy, what he mentioned is half of my team also is international. And so I will have emails that come through late at night. And so I really like the mornings just to catch up on everything that I might have missed last night. And then also just to get my priorities straight, since I work across so many different networks, assessing what I need to do for the day and really what I should be focusing on. Right now, my main priorities or my main networks that I'm working on is Discovery Channel, Investigation Discovery, TBS, TNT, True TV, and TLC. So it seems like it's a lot. So I make sure to always assess what my priorities are for the day. And so as a coordinator, and especially within the field of PR, my days are very, very different. Right now, for the holidays, we're doing a lot of events or we're planning events for the next year. And so I've been arranging a lot of talent travel, as well as assisting with talent interviews and arranging talent interviews as well. And so that's been really fun because it's something that I really love. I love working with talent. I love being able to attend those talent interviews, whether it's in person or if it's even just like a Zoom call. I think it's so great, and it's also so exciting to be able to do and to be promoting different shows and different seasons. It's always so great. Some of our shows is like Deadliest Catch, Gold Rush, Naked and Afraid. So we've really had some great titles that have been on air for many, many years. And it's really exciting too because I've been able to brainstorm with my managers and find out like new ways of pitching these shows. They've been on for 21 seasons, Deadliest Catch has. So, what are some ways that we can do it differently? And then we've also been focusing on finding new journalists to pitch to, as well as like influencers, which marketing typically handles or like our social team typically handles. So, I've actually been able to work hand in hand with them and figure out like how can we get like the interviews who do the man on the street interviews, especially here in New York. So, really just leveraging that and seeing the full potential of that. And so every day really is different, and that's something that I really love about it. And then, of course, like every day I have like the admin tasks that I go through, which is like arranging meetings, making sure that expenses are handled before the budget closes out. And so it really is a journey. And what Lee and Troy said, I've learned so much within the past year. And I think you don't realize it either. There's times where I'll like sit down and I'll reflect and I'm like doing a task and I'm doing it without thinking. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, like months ago, I didn't even like, I remember I would like be like, topping and like looking at my notes, and now I could just do it without even thinking. And so it's crazy being able to see your growth and your progress within the span of just a year. So that's something that I've really loved. I love the aspect of just you continue learning, you continue growing, and you're never done with that. So it's been great.
Carmen, let me just tell you, girl, such wonderful sound bites. And what my takeaway is that you're doing PR for multiple brands, which is exciting. And each time you said another brand, I was like, oh, okay, now that's 7. Okay, now that's 8. So that's exciting because I can already understand why no 2 days are ever the same for you, considering you get to, much like Troy, jump out of different lanes. So your cross transferable skills are going to be sick when it's all said and done by virtue of you being able to tap into other lanes, right? Because now it's not just PR, there's a little bit of social, a little bit of marketing, and you get to have your hand in a little bit of all that and take it with you. So this just doesn't get any better. I mean, there's always how the moderator wants the conversation to unfold. There's the fantasy of how it happens, and then there's what actually happens. This doesn't get any better. And so while I have you, because now we're gonna snake back around to get over to Erin. While I have you, Carmen, can you share how you found out about EBF? Like, where were you? How did it happen? Who told you? Did you find us? Did we find you? Give us a little window. And in that, just talk a little bit about your experience. So we're going to maximize this time for all these folks here.
Of course. So I was actually in my dorm at NYU, and I was about to finish my sophomore year of college. And so I was literally getting ready to go home and just packing up all my dorm stuff and everything. And I remember I had gotten an email from NYU, and sometimes they'll send over like resources. I was part of the journalism program. So the journalism program will sometimes send over resources. And I remember it was like this big title, and it was like, apply now. And I looked at it and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" And I started like really reading into it, and I loved it so much. And I remember being nervous because the application was about to close. And so I immediately just applied, and it was amazing. I got in, and it was sophomore year, the end of sophomore year, and they helped connect me with my first internship. So I'm eternally grateful. I really am. I'm so thankful, and it's been such an amazing journey. I'm originally from Nevada, and so I was able to be with the Nevada Independent, and I was an intern reporter, and it was the first ever internship I've ever done, and I'm a first generation college student. And so this was something that was very nerve-wracking for me. I remember telling my parents, and they were like, "We don't really know what an internship is." They were like, "Is it just like a job?" Like they weren't really understanding it. And so being able to have the Emma Bowen Foundation truly was such an excellent resource that I don't know how I would have been able to get this far without EBF. And from there, I really tried my best to engage as much as possible with EBF. I remember during that same summer when I was interning at the Nevada Independent, I went to the career fair, the virtual career fair that EBF held, and I was meeting with all their partners, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's so many amazing opportunities." And it just felt like so many different options you could really choose from. So many options that I didn't know were possible for me. And so from there, I actually heard about Warner Bros. Discovery. I talked with the internship recruitment team, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to apply for the fall internship. I've worked since high school, and I've always done service jobs. And so this was such an opening for me of like, oh, now I can do internships instead. And so for my fall semester, I interned at CNN, and I'm so grateful for that because Emma Bowen really just leveraged that and helped so much. And then I actually ended up doing 3 consecutive internships with them with their network booking team, where I was working on breaking news stories. And so this was so amazing. And then from there, I was at Penguin Random House. And then now I'm here at Warner Bros. Again. And so it truly has been such an amazing journey. And I will always thank EBF for it. I really don't think I would have been able to get this far without the foundation. So thank you.
Carmen, girl, you know we have all that what you said recorded. I can't wait to hit play again and go back and hear it again because this is why we do what we do, and it's so inspiring. I've been doing this now, it's 5 years in this role, but like this is why my favorite board meeting was the June meeting where we could see you all and hear from you all because this is what gets you going around like, yes, let's do more, let's conquer the world. And on that note, Troy, how did you find out about us or how did we find you?
I think pretty similar to Carmen. I went to USC and I don't remember exactly when. It was either towards, I think it was either the end of my freshman year or towards the beginning of my sophomore year. Um, Kind of similar. The business school sent out an email saying apply now, Emma Bowen Foundation. And I was like, this seems pretty interesting. And as I did more research about it, I was like, I really wanted to get into sports and like seeing that the NFL was a partner company was something that like really piqued my interest. I had applied for sports internships at USC and I'd get in the interview stages and wouldn't really get anywhere further than that. So I was like, well, this could be like a great opportunity to connect with people in the industry. But I think even like applying for to be a fellow, I was not really assuming that I was going to end up in sports whatsoever. I was kind of like, I'm not going to get the right connections, but this will be interesting. And I'm really glad to be proven wrong by that. Like was able to intern at the NFL in community relations and social responsibility, and then come back the next year in the rotational program. And it's been such a great experience. And I think just like honestly, kind of like was said towards the beginning of this, like I met such great friends at the conferences. Like I'm going to hang out with a couple different friends this weekend that I met through Emma Bowen and probably would never have met like for any reason outside of it. And it's just so amazing to connect with so many different like-minded people from across the country that there really is no other like avenue or medium for us to connect like this. And that's really what I enjoyed the most about being a fellow. Just like making these deep connections that I know will last a lifetime that I know like are going to be seeing me at my big accomplishments and I get to cheer them on for their big accomplishments.
Oh, that Troy, listen, closed mouths do not get fed. You saying that you wanted sports. Now, listen, just to manage everybody's expectations, we don't always get what we want. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. But you said what you wanted, you manifested the experience. And when the moon and the stars align, ergo, so does your internship opportunity. And now you're in another experience with them in this rotation. Thank you for sharing that and how you found us. All right, now Lee, and then Erin, I know you already know your answer. So Lee, share with us, did we find you or did you find us?
My friend, I was in the library at Stony Brook. It was towards the end of my sophomore year, and she knew I was having a hard time looking for internships, and she actually recommended Emma Bowen Foundation to me. When I first looked at it, I wasn't too sure because I was thinking, I'm like, I really want to focus on technology, and I had a really narrowed mindset. Like I was thinking about the big tech companies, all tech. But as I was looking through all the partners of Emma Bowen Foundation, I realized a lot of these really need technology in it more than I thought. So I joined Emma Bowen Foundation. I was still really nervous about it since it was my first internship. I never had any prior experience. I was actually really nervous and stressing out about it. But eventually, I was able to get two internships from the Emma Bowen Foundation, and even now, I'm still part of it. And it was actually a life-changing moment for me. Without this fellowship, it would have been completely different for me. So I'm actually really grateful for it. And as Troy said, being able to meet all the other friends and fellows in the conferences, like the one I think a few months ago when we were at Hudson Yard. That was really fun. And I was able to meet actually people from Outfront and even on the West Coast at Outfront Media. I never even knew that they would be able to fly out here and talk. I was able to talk to them in person because I saw them online, but I didn't expect to see them in person at the event as well.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Lee. We talk here often about leveraging the network and leveraging your network's network. That's exactly what you are doing. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. And so, even Troy, for you to be going out to hang out with folks that you met throughout the program, this is your network to leverage. And so, with that, I turn it over to you, Erin. How did we find you, and how did you find us?
So my story, my EBF story, is pretty much summed up by the fact that I have a tiger mama. She is a tiger mom, and I wanted to be a journalist, specifically a TV news reporter, since I was in the fourth grade. Back then, there really wasn't. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. There wasn't really like journalism camps for kids. Like that wasn't really a thing. So we have like for years had looked at like programs to and everything like for journalism and everything was for college level kids. So my mom started contacting Emma Bowen Foundation when I was in like middle school, guys. I'm not joking. She found it one day. She was like, listen, she pulls laptop up. I'm in the kitchen. She's like, you're going to be in this program. I already contacted them and they were like, no, we don't accept eighth graders. But Ms. Burnett, please apply, have her apply when she's in high school, and like her senior year of high school. So the program is open from seniors in high school through seniors in college. I applied as a senior in high school. I remember the November that application opened. My mom was like, it's time. Like it was time. So once I did that, I got through the different levels of the process, and I remember being in my high school seniors, like college counseling office when they sat me down on the phone. They were like, "Erin, we're going to offer you an internship as a senior in high school," and I didn't realize like I think it kind of set the pace for trying to get over imposter syndrome pretty early in life because I was one of the youngest in my cohort, and the youngest in the building for my internship where I ended up interning, which was WBAL TV, the NBC News affiliate station in Baltimore, my hometown. And like that kind of set the pace for where I'm at now, even being in like a top 50 news market straight out of school, one of the youngest on my team. So like, don't let people tell you you can't do things, and let people pour into you. Let Emma Bowen pour into you, because if it wasn't for these people like right here, I would not be here at all.
Ooh, y'all are turning out. You talk about show up and show out. That is what we do at the Emma Bowen Foundation. That's why we brag on our alums. And Erin, I so appreciate that you knew what you wanted to do. You're going back when you were knee high to a grasshopper, and that your mom was like, guess what? That's what you want. That's what we gonna get. And the fact that she did the research and found the program and talk about a helicopter mom, but I'm not mad at that because she's part of your manifesting where you are today because she encouraged, she supported you, and she leaned into you in a way that she could have been like, I don't think that's what you should do, right? Because sometimes parents, yeah, we do that. But she let you live, and now you're living exactly what it is that you manifested from yay high. So happy for you. Ooh, there's Anel popping in. That's my cue. Thank you, Anel. This is my last question for you all before we jump out to the living room. And I love this question because I like when people ask me, if you only knew then what you know now, go for it, Erin.
Don't let people tell you that your journey, I don't know if you're spiritual, a woman or man, a person of faith, don't let people tell you your journey is just luck. You are qualified to be in the room that you are set on. Your journey is your journey. Keep your blinders on like you're a horse in the Kentucky Derby, but don't let people tell you you're in the room just because you're lucky. You're not lucky. You're blessed and you work hard.
Like my Sydney, my 12-year-old would be like, yes, Miss Erin, yes. Lee, what's your advice?
I feel like it's being more confident. Like the more confidence you have, the more you have to leave a stronger impression on people. You could communicate with them so much better. They will remember you, and they'll always like they'll just know the strong impression you left. And I feel like if I knew to talk to more people when I was in school, I could have better connections later on in life.
I love that. Networking, and not waiting, right? Like networking
Yeah.
is who's rooming to the right of you and to the left of you. Oh, I love that you said that, Lee. Troy,
I think for me, it's just be your authentic self. I think so much like initially in internships and like even in school, like it was about like, oh, how do I fit in with these people, not how do they fit in with me? And like letting myself just like be me. I think like there's a lot of times where like I haven't loved like the work I'm doing, but because the people saw me for like who I am and like knew who I was personally, like I was able to get through those rough days. I was able to like move past the days like I absolutely hated, like didn't want to be in the office. And I think if I were to have conformed to like whatever they wanted me to be or like what I thought they wanted me to be more so, then like I might not have gone through those days. People wouldn't have like noticed like the way I was feeling. And I think that's really what it is. Like you don't have to conform to like other people's expectations or what you think their expectations are, because a lot of times people just want to get to know you for you. Um, they don't want like some like half-baked version of yourself or like whatever you're just trying to fit into, whatever like little box you're trying to fit into. Like they want to know you.
because Troy, I think you would agree when you're being you, you don't have to be reminded who you are, or you don't forget who you are because you're just being you. Thank you for that. And Carmen, to round it off before Nell comes back in here looking to strangle me, tell me.
Yeah, I would say to never stop dreaming and to also working hard to accomplish your goals. I remember when I was in high school, my advisor had told me not to apply to NYU because it was too much of a stretch. And she said that I should stick to local schools like the other kids did. And I knew that this was my dream and I wanted to go to NYU. And so I still applied and I got in, thankfully. So I would say just know your worth. Know what your dreams are, and if you have a goal, stick to it and you can make the steps to achieve that goal.
And that is the word for today: to know your worth, to never stop dreaming, to be your authentic self, and to be confident. Thank you all. And now Anel has joined us so that we can do Q&A with the living room. And I think there are some questions in the chat, even though I said I don't multitask very well. I do see questions in the chat. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Anel.
All right. Yeah, we do have a few questions. The first one I'd like to address. Hold on, I'm scrolling. Um, is from Ava. And her question is, are there any opportunities related to product design? Yes, we have partners who do look for students in product design. However, I will say that product design is one of those roles that partners release applications for them very, very early on. I would say most tech roles, applications are out now. So I would highly recommend that you apply as soon as possible because those partners already have their summer internship applicants submitting their applications. So the sooner you apply, the better for product design. But yes, we have had product design interns. The next question is, what are the next steps after we submit our application and our hire review interview? After you submit your application and your hire review interview, it looks very different. The way that it works is essentially the partners kind of tell us what opportunities they're looking to fill, and or they will just give us a special link for you guys to see all of the opportunities that they have available and for you to apply to. So once you apply to our program, one of two things will happen. Either we will reach out to you if your interests and skills match with something that a partner is looking for, or you will receive emails from us throughout the cycle, meaning from now until April, from different partner companies that are opening their applications. And then once you receive that email, you'll be able to see all of the opportunities they have available and apply through them. However, after you do that step, there will be a form for you to complete so that we're aware that you applied and we can forward your information to them as well so that you can basically kind of like go through our program and have them look at your application. So it does take some time. Don't get impatient. I do recommend that everyone applies earlier rather than later because the sooner you're in our applicant pool, the higher chances you have of getting an opportunity. And but don't get impatient. It does take several weeks. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes we're filling roles in April. And the advantage of applying early too is that if, for instance, we put you forward for one role, but for whatever reason that doesn't work out, you're still in our applicant pool, so we can talk to you again about a different role. So just keep that in mind. But it looks different for everyone. Let's see. I think that the panelist can answer this, or Nikki. What advice do you have for current juniors who want to reach out to professionals in the entertainment industry?
Now, you know I have an answer, but I'm going to allow the fabulous alums who just lived this to answer that. Who's Erin? I see your hand moving.
I say shoot your shot. Shoot or shoot. Closed mouths don't get fed, like was said earlier. Some you can cold email people, guys. Like people's emails are out there on LinkedIn, free game. And a lot of times, like I remember being EBF panels, like, I'm gonna give my email right now, but they would literally say only 5% of the people in this room are going to actually use it. So be that 5%.
Thank you,
I
Erin.
second that emotion.
Do you want to add something, Nikki?
No, I love her answer, right? Like you find this opportunity. While I recognize that it can be challenging, especially depending on where the role is or the company or what you're thinking, but she's right. You have to talk to folks who are there. I think scouring the sites, going on to socials, I would do all of the same too. So I believe in leveraging the network, right? That's what we talked about. Find someone who knows someone. Our world is small enough. Your network is small enough. You can find folks in your alumni association for your university and or college. So like get creative to figure out ways to get a hold of people. And yeah, I say the same: cold calls, cold emails, cold messages on socials. You exhaust all the ways that you know how to leverage the person and or
Thank you. We got a couple of questions that are role specific. We were asked if we have opportunities in UI UX, if we have interns working on the development side of film and television. And I'm going to say yes to all of the above. Again, all of the roles that we have, it's very, very varied, and it really just depends on the partner. I will say for like user experience, again, those roles, they get filled very, very, very early on. So those are the folks that need to apply especially early. But yeah, we've had students who've interned in all of those roles. And I'm seeing one now about advertising. And yes, we have had a lot of marketing and advertising um, fellows as well. Um, Next question. Would not having prior internships affect the competitiveness of an applicant, especially as a senior who's eager to get industry experience? Do you want to answer it, Nikki?
again, Anel? Because I was trying to look for I'm a visual learner better than in listening. So I was
Uh,
trying to find it myself. Say it again.
would not having prior internships affect the competitiveness of an applicant, especially as a senior who's eager to get industry experience?
It might. You would be coming in a little late to the game for others that might have had the opportunity to have had these experiences in the summer, whether that was their freshman year, sophomore year, or junior year. However, it shouldn't preclude you from applying and trying to get as much experience as you can. So I wouldn't let that get in the way of you still pursuing an opportunity, regardless as to how competitive the experience may be. The only way you lose is by not engaging. So I would say late is better than not at all.
I agree. And I'll also add that I think your location plays a role in that too. If you're in a bigger city like New York, or if you're in LA or something like that, it's definitely going to be more competitive. But if you're somewhere else where there just aren't as many students who are interested in what you're interested in and haven't applied to the program, then you have an edge. And just make sure to include whatever experience you do have, whether it's in school or, like with clubs or even just work outside of school. Next question. What advice would you give for the high review interview? I mentioned earlier, just be very, very aware of your surroundings. As Troy mentioned, be your authentic self. Don't try to just like kind of answer in the way that you think we want you to answer because we can tell. Just, be very authentic. Tell us what you want to do. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your experience. Um, in today's day and age, sometimes we're hearing students who have very similar answers for certain questions, and we can tell that maybe there was a little bit of AI playing a role in there. So just keep that in mind. We are able to tell that. So just be yourself, be aware of your surroundings, make sure that you're in a quiet place where we can hear you, and just look presentable.
So Anel gave you advice for what to do in the moment. My advice will be the prepping for the moment that Anel just laid out for you. Practice in your mirror, in the bathroom, wherever you feel safe so that you're showing up as your best self. Practice. And I find that how you get comfortable, not everybody does public speaking well. Not everyone is comfortable in front of a camera. I know it can be awkward in this new world. Maybe not for you because you all are agile in that way, but for some people, it's awkward talking to a dot at the top of their laptop. There's no one on the other side. But if you get comfortable practicing, my mom taught me, she was in HR years ago and they called it personnel. And so she would always keep a mirror by her phone This was before computers, because she learned in a training course that whatever you're experiencing is how you're showing up, even when you think you're not. So this is a good indication of like, well, what am I looking like? How am I feeling right now? Because that's what's actually going to come out in your voice. And when you practice, you remove the nervous energy that often accompanies when your nerves are rattled. So practice. Get in the bathroom, in front of the mirror, in your room, get your brush, like how back in the day you used to sing. Find your comfort in being uncomfortable. And then while you're on a high, play whatever music you need to play to get you on, and then go in front of the camera and do your interview for Higher View. But that confidence that Lee talked about earlier, that's where you get it. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it, and like build yourself up to then do the thing that Anel said.
Yes. This is a question for our panelists. What was your favorite experience or opportunity as a fellow? Anyone want to jump in?
I I think honestly the favorite experience is not really the work part. It's more of these events. Like it's all about the events, being able to meet people other than especially the in-person events. Like I mentioned before, the in-person events are honestly the best in my opinion because I had such a fun time at the last event. Plus, I was able to meet a lot of the sponsors, and they were all really friendly and nice to talk to. I was able to connect with them on LinkedIn, and they still reach out to me to this day.
Thank you, Lee. Anyone else want to answer that?
Literally just to say ditto, I have a group chat with my cohort members called Media Moguls, and we have been together thick as thieves since like what 2021 at this point. Like we're all over the country scattered now, but like it doesn't matter because we'd all come together for like the summer conference in New York, and we have just so many memories. And now that like we're beyond that and graduated, we are a support system for each other no matter what. So I definitely agree with you.
I agree as well. I've met so many amazing people, and it truly just forms so many different connections that I think I will have for life.
Thank you, guys. We have a few more questions and we're wrapping up here. We've got 2 more minutes on the clock. Here we go. I just lost it. Where'd it go?
Well, while Anel is looking, I'm going to take this opportunity to shout out Brianna, and I hope she's still here because I wrote you back, Brianna. Thank you for sharing that your mom was a part of, like, I think the first class. I'm trying to go back to find your comment, but that your mom was a part of. Yes, Lisbeth Guzman. We need to shout her out because she is like, hello, early class alum, 1989 when we were founded. So I want to say that I've been in rooms with her early in my being on the board for the foundation. So please, Brianna de Jesus, please tell your mama that we're looking for her and that I'd love to be in touch with her. And I don't even know if she's local, but this is how we are with our alums. So you know what you're getting yourself into. This is how we rock with each other. So please tell her to reach out. You know how to get in touch with us. We would love to talk to her and feature her in a conversation with a Tuesday with Nikki so that we can highlight how fabulous our alums are going all the way back to the very first class of 1989. So thank you for shouting her out in the chat. I needed to blow up your shout out. Okay, and now I turn it back to you.
Alrighties. So this is gonna be, I'm gonna kind of, it's a couple of questions, but this is gonna be the last thing we answer. You can email us, I wanna say before I do answer the questions. Crystal did put our email on there, so feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions. Okay, so where do I go to the Higher View interview and how do I apply for the internships? So the internships, you just go to our website, there's an apply now section, and we're also going to email out this video so you can scan the QR code in the presentation to get to our apply page. The Higher View interview, you will receive a link after you submit the application from Higher View, and just make sure to keep an eye on your spam folder because it sometimes does land in there. We will send you a reminder email if you do not complete it within a certain amount of time. For potential next steps, can we get matched with a part? So for the potential next steps, we could get matched with a partner company, question mark. And also if we applied through EBF link and get the internship, would we then become an EBF fellow? Yes, you would only be an EBF fellow if you do get an internship through a partner company. So you apply through our program, and whether you get an internship because we reached out to you about a specific opportunity and then you were interviewed with the partner, or we sent you a partner's link that had all of the jobs and you applied to several jobs, there were one or two, it doesn't matter, and you do get that internship through there, you would become an EBF fellow. Now, with those jobs specifically, what I will say is it is very, very important that you fill out the form for us when you submit that application, because if you do not, we do have a way to know that you applied because of EBF with our partners. However, it's not guaranteed because you're not giving us the information directly. So it's easy for you to fall through the cracks. So just make sure that you make us aware if you do get an internship at one of our partner companies so that we can make sure that you are a fellow. And I believe that is it. Any last words, anyone?
Well, I want to thank you all, the alums who are with us, because I appreciate as we started, right? Not just for the students who have joined us to learn a little bit more about EBF and why we make the magic happen, but the fact that you all either could have been working or you could have been in the gym, Erin, you could have been sleeping, you could have been doing other things, and you chose to be here with us. And if that is not a sign of giving back and paying it forward, we appreciate that. We never take it lightly. And so thank you. You all are fabulous. And at some point, the call comes again. We give you a little room in between the calls, but the calls will come again. And so thank you for giving of your time and your talent tonight. I appreciate all the advice that you gave, because the truth is, even for those of us that have been in the business for a while, it's nice to see the wondrousness through your eyes being so still on the newer side of things, and how you all are experiencing your journeys with such joy and enthusiasm and confidence, which comes with time, having had some experience under your belt. So thank you all. And Anel, thank you for being a co-host with me. I always appreciate you, Miss Alum, over there too, because in the spirit of how we honor our alums, the fact that we have alums on our team. And so I got a shout out to Cora and Naina, who are also on the staff. You didn't get to see them tonight, but Naina is in LA and Takora, I believe, is in Rhode Island. But they're always in the background making the magic happen. And so I'm thanking the whole team, even those that you don't see: Clarabelle, Crystal, Ope, Everett, Michael, Aya. Thank you all so much. Appreciate